3, 2, 1. Ignition and liftoff of Columbia on the first dedicated medical research flight.
The year was 1991. It was a time of great change. In January, a coalition of forces led by the United States commenced Operation Desert Storm in Iraq, beginning the invasion with aerial bombardments and long-range artillery. In June, the Space Shuttle Columbia carried the Life Sciences 1 module into orbit to study the effects of spaceflight on the human body. That same year, the first public web servers were made available, marking the beginning of the internet as we know it today. And as the year came to a close, 11 former Soviet Union republics established the Commonwealth of Independent States, effectively dissolving the USSR and marking the end of Mikhail Gorbachev's presidency. But nestled between these momentous events was the release of a new video game. It was called Civilization, and in many ways, this was a game about change. A game about science, culture, a game about nations, their rise and fall in the course of human history. Its box art read, "Build an empire to stand the test of time." Now, 25 years and 8 games later, the Civilization series has done just that.
The world is so interconnected right now. I think any game that sort of plays on the unique characteristics and cultural strengths of all the different peoples of the world is just perfect for this day and age.
For the uninitiated, the 4X strategy genre can be daunting. It's known for its complexity and depth, and the blend of macro and micromanagement that comes with building a digital empire. But despite the learning curve, Civilization has, without a doubt, stood the test of time. It began under Microprose, a studio formed by 2 designers named Sid Meier and Bill Steely who, in 1996, would later found Firaxis Games and take Civilization with them. So when we got the opportunity to visit Firaxis in Hunt Valley, Maryland, it was only natural that I asked the creators their side of the story. After a quarter of a century, how is Civilization still going strong?
I think it's just one of those games that it resonates with people. You know, when you think about 4X strategy games and stuff, of course, it's one of the, prime examples of that genre.
Civilization, the first one, came out in 1991. I think ignited the imaginations of a lot of players. It was kind of something that was a genre that we hadn't really seen before.
You can obviously see that Civilization 3 was, total 2D, animated sprites, the whole 9 yards. It was a great snapshot of it. Civilization 4 was brand new to 3D, and it showed a little bit. It had very earthy colors. It was at the time, it was considered cutting edge.
Because in Civilization 4 and before, it was a very sort of macroeconomic, strategic game. So in Civilization 5, we changed that significantly. Brought it about to be about tactical knowledge, about those small moves, about heroic efforts like somebody holding the line on a hill somewhere and being able to kind of bottleneck something. So I think that really changed the series in a good way and brought the sort of highlighted the tactics in a way that wasn't really there before.
As with any series as pervasive as Civilization, it's not hard to see each entry as a reflection of where video games were at the time. But if each Civ game leaves a legacy, a unique innovation it can pass on to its sequel, where does Civ 6 fit in the grand scheme of things?
Could you talk about the pressure of picking up the mantle for a numbered Civ game? Where do you even go from Civ 5, especially after its expansions?
Yeah, I'm glad Ed was lead on this. I could not have done it, and I could not have. I don't know how that guy keeps the whole game in his head.
The question is sort of how do we keep the game design fresh and moving forward? And people will say, well, I've already bought 3 copies of Civilization. Why do I need another one?
It's definitely an intimidating title to work on, especially when you start on it. You're like, where can we go from here? We're on the 6th iteration. What are we going to do?
A game about civilization. It's such a grand title, and it is very ambitious in a lot of ways. We're trying to represent, even though it's in this sort of caricatured, gamey way, all of human history.
There's been some pretty crazy things that humans have done throughout all of human history. There's also been a lot of interesting things that they've done through all of human history. So there's never going to be a shortage of ideas in terms of game mechanics when you have a foundation like what he made with Civilization. He's got the basic things where you're starting with a city and you're making some key decisions and you're working outward from there. So it's a very simple premise that can lead to very in-depth, engaging gameplay. But everything that happens between that first city and when you win is the sky's the limit. And you have history to fall back on.
Like I would put Civ 4 more in the simulation side, where there's a lot of math going on behind the scenes, a lot of interesting stuff, but it's a little bit more of a sandbox, I think. Whereas Civilization 5 felt a little bit more like a board game. I think with Civilization 6, we've kind of landed right in the middle in an interesting way. We have a lot of simulation elements while still having that really kind of fun mechanical board game feel.
But we wanted to look at things for Civilization 6 in kind of a fresh way in terms of the way people interact with the game and the way that people can look at what they've created. And so I think that's been, the big win with Civilization 6 is everything out there on the map that you're looking at is sort of your creation.
Because the map is really, in a lot of ways, the star of Civilization. That is the part that's random every time. It's one of the biggest fuel sources for that procedural storytelling.
The scary part about this for us, and it's always scary when you're releasing a game, but particularly for Civilization 6, is we were really aggressive. We wanted to make the biggest Civ that we've ever made out of the gate. We didn't want our players to think in any way, well, they held stuff back, they're waiting for the expansions for it to be done. We wanted to release something big.
We know we have something that's going to be establishing, a new phase for the Civilization franchise.
Well, if I want to be the cold, hard taskmaster that I am, I would say my goal is to make people forget the previous versions of Civilization, because this will be the version of Civilization. We always have fans that usually split into a few camps, because a lot of them, we've still got fans that love Civilization 4, we've got fans that love Civilization 5, we've got fans that we hopefully love Civilization 6. But hopefully if we've done our job and we've done everything like we want to do, they're going to be like, no, I don't think I need to play those on there anymore. This is the one that I want to play. That would be the goal. I think that's the goal with each iteration, is to really make them so that this is everything that they could possibly want. That's how much work we've put into this. That's the goal. Don't know if that'll happen, but yeah, we can try.
Firaxis Games is no stranger to lofty goals. The studio has made a name for itself by creating games about the entirety of human history. And Firaxis hasn't just survived, but flourished for a quarter of a century. Numerous designers have come and gone, branching off from that prolific studio to craft their own projects. And that's what we're exploring in part 2 of this series. The wider effect the Civilization franchise has had on the entire strategy genre, from the games that set new standards, to the people with the talent and drive to envision them. No one knows if Civilization has another 25 years ahead of it, but as of now, its ripple effects are all around us.
It is the nature of humankind to push itself toward the horizon. We test our limits. We face our fears. We rise to the challenge and become something greater than ourselves.